Welcome back to the Arbitress YouTube channel. In today's class, we are going to learn how to make this beautiful row sleeve. The row sleeve is cut together with the basic sleeve. It's a very simple tutorial and beginner friendly. This is something you like to learn. Kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. To make this sleeve, you're going to need your basic sleeve block like this, a long sleeve. So I've already drafted mine. If you don't know how to draft a basic sleeve, the tutorial is already on the channel. You can check it. So it's just your regular way of drafting your basic sleeve. My actual sleeve length is 23. I added one extra allowance, which made it 24 inches. And then you can see my allowance by the side as well. Okay. So now this basic sleeve is what you're going to use. You're going to add fullness to this to create the ruffles that you see on the sleeve. So for the ruffles, I'm going to bring in another pattern. Okay, this is another paper. Now this paper, we are going to be putting it on fold in bias, just like a triangle, you can see. Now, so what you need to do is to fold just to form a triangle like this on bias. So just bring them, you can see how it is before. So just bring one end like this and fold like a triangle like this. So you make sure it is folded like this. This part has to be on fold. And then you arrange it well. Okay, so after arranging it well, you can see how I'm placing it. This is the open part and this is the part that is on fold. So this open part is going to be on the under area. That's the open part of your sleeve. Remember, for your sleeve, this part is going to be on fold. This part, this is the head of the sleeve, is going to be on fold. It's because it's a pattern, that's why I did not fold it. So this part has to be on fold. This is your underarm where you're going to sew. So just like you have it on your paper as well, this part is on fold and this part is the open part. So now this part that is opened is what you're going to be placing against the open part of your sleeve as well. So you can see it, and this part that is on fold is the one that is going to be facing the folded part of your sleeve. So now for the fullness, I'm going to stop it around my actual elbow is 12 inches. So I'm going to add like 3 inches to that, which is going to make it around 15 inches. If you want more fullness, you can add more. So now you can just use a glue to hold down your pattern so that it doesn't shift. I'm trying to check what I have here. Okay, so you can see that I am placing the head of the sleeve against this folded point because I want them joined together. Okay, so I said I want it around 15 inches, or let's just make it 16. So this is 16 inches here. So for me to just have it together, I'm just going to try to like glue it. You can also use your masking tape if you have one. The idea is just for them to lay on each other like this. So now once you have them, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the excess that I have. Okay, the excess that I have is this on the hem. This one, I don't need it. I already stopped it at the 16 inches that I said I wanted to stop. So now I'll just lift this up and trim off this excess. Okay, so this is what I have now, and then I'm going to cut the side as well. So now you can see that this part is straight down like that. So now the next thing now is to cut the excess that I have by the sides here as well. So you can see that I'm using my actual basic sleeve as a guide, and then I'm going to cut my armhole area on the sleeve as well. So now this is what I have as the new pattern of my sleeve. It doesn't have to be on fold like this because we're also going to put it on fold, but I just want us to understand this very well. You don't have to put your pattern in on double like this. You can just use one side, but for us to understand it well, that's why I just use it like that. So I'm just going to glue this together as well, so that it doesn't keep shifting up. So now that we have it as a single piece, we are going to go ahead and cut it out on our fabric. I hope you can see what the pattern is looking like. This is where our basic sleeve starts, and this is the excess that we are going to use to create the ruffles. This is the fabric that I'm working with. This is a cotton fabric. It is not a very soft fabric. Ashoke was used for the original sleeve that we have on the thumbnail, and Ashoke is kind of stiff. So if your fabric is not so stiff and you want your ruffle area to stand well, you need to strengthen it with interfacing. Okay, so now, but before you strengthen it, you need to cut it out first. So you're going to put your fabric on fold in bias, like the triangle that we did earlier, so that your ruffle is going to be easy for you to create the ruffle. Once it's in bias, it's going to fold very well. It's not going to be so stiff. So you can see I am putting it on fold again, just like I'm creating a triangle the way I explained using the paper. So now I have created it. The next thing is to bring in my pattern. So you have to be mindful of this folded part. This folded part has to be on the folded part of your fabric as well. So you're going to match the folded area together like this, and then you arrange the rest just like this. I hope you can see that. So that is how we're going to cut it. So you can hold it down with your pins first before you cut, or you just place something on it. Just make sure that it does not shift. So where necessary, you can add your seam allowance. I don't need allowance here again because I already had added to it. So I'm just going to add to the side here. So I'll grab my scissors now and cut this out. So I have gone ahead to cut it on my fabric. You can see I just said this is my pin and added allowance where necessary. So now I'm going to detach the pin so that I can remove my pattern, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so like I said, you need to add interfacing, especially to this extra fullness area, so that you have something solid. This is the time you're going to iron your interfacing on this area. Okay, so now this is what we'll have. So if you're adding interfacing to it, it means you have to cut lining to cover it up. So you can use your actual basic sleeves to cut your lining, or you can cut it after creating your ruffles. So now if you're adding interfacing, after adding interfacing to it, the next thing is to take it to the sewing machine and join it together. So this is where you're going to sew. You're going to put it on fold again, and then you're going to sew on this sharp corner here. That's where we added allowance. Let me bring in the pattern so that you can understand it better. So you're going to sew from here, okay, to this part, so that you cover up all this opening that you have. So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine now and then run a stitch with 1/2 inch allowance that I added, just like this. So I'm gonna have to sew it. Now this is what we have. So here where you have this sharp edge, we're going to go ahead and notch it. Don't cut into your seam, just make sure to notch it so that that point can relax well. So after notching it, you can see it's going to open up straight like this. So you can now go ahead and iron your seams open. Okay, so this is just that you can have it relaxing very well. So you open your seams and iron it, but basically this is what we are doing. So this is the wrong side. You can see where the seam is, and this is the right side of the fabric. So I'm going to pull it out. So once I pull it out, now you can clearly see this is our actual sleeve, and all of this now is the excess that we have from the basic sleeve. All of this is the excess that we have from our actual basic sleeve, and that is what we're going to use to create this rose. So now you start creating your rose. You can create from the large part, but it's going to be easier for you to start creating it from this cone, from this small part. So what you get depends on how creative you are. So you can start opening it up like this. You can see this is the smallest part here. So you can start creating roses around that smallest part. So you can see what I'm doing here. So you're just going to try to form something So when you form it to the large part, it's going to be easier for you to rearrange. So you can see how I'm just trying to create like a rose around this now. So that's what you need to do. You keep creating till you get something that you like. So you form your rose around it like this. Once you are done and you check it and it's not okay, at any point you can try to even influence it and create something more beautiful. So that is what you need to do. You make sure that you only have your basic sleeve. You use all the excess that you have there to create the rose. Okay, all the excess that we have around the basic sleeve is what we're going to use to create our rose. So you just form it. You make sure that you form it. You can see, let me remove it again. You start creating from this cone area. Okay, you can just even bring it out like this. Put this one on the table. Once you put the inside on the table, it's going to give you an idea of what you are trying to create. Just make sure that nothing is rumpled. Make it as neat as possible. So once this one is already down, you can now start forming roses around it. You start forming your rose around this starting point that you already have. So make sure that you form something really nice, and then after forming it, you're going to tack. So you can see that I am still forming roses around it. The objective is by the time I'm done, I won't have the excess on my basic sleeve. I must have used them to form whatever design that I want. So now if you are okay with what you have, you go ahead and start tacking them. So you make sure you tack it as neat as possible. Tack it in areas that is not going to be so visible. Excuse me. I'm just going to use pins to hold mine tentatively to see what I have. So you're going to use your needle and thread to tack them together. You can tack from under. Just make sure that what you are tacking is not so visible. So instead of tacking on the upper part here, you can tack it under, just like I'm pinning it from under. You're going to tack it under, and you make sure that it is well concealed. Okay, you make sure that nothing is showing. So I don't want this to be long. You can see how I'm doing it. So how I'm pinning it is how you're going to tack as well. So I'm going to try to pin this now and then bring it back to show us what it looks like. Okay, you can see what we are forming there. I've pinned it a little bit. You can see I pinned it, so that's how you're going to turn it and then tack where necessary. You can see that the ruffles are staying now, so you can create your ruffle as much as you want and create whatever design that you want. So here now, like I said, if you added interfacing to this, you need to cover it with lining, and you also need to cover this rough edges with lining. I did not cut lining for this because it's a tutorial. You can either use this to cut out your lining or use your main basic sleeve to cut your lining. And if you want to add pleats to this area as well, you just increase it, just like you're cutting your puff sleeve. So you increase what you use on the head of your sleeve. So that is how you do it. So this is what we have now. The next thing is to fold it together here, and then you're going to close the underarm area. So I'll do this now and take it to the mannequin so that I can see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like after tacking it and sewing the under area. You can also arrange the ruffle on the mannequin if that is what you want, and you can tack to the lining as well for more stability. I hope you enjoyed making this with me. I will see you in the next one. Bye.